Welcome to the Other Side Pod. I'm Nadine. We're not experts. We're just humans having a human experience we think you can learn from, or relate to, or laugh at, or cry over. So hit download, dive in, and hear how folks found themselves on the other side. Before we get into it, what is your favorite all-time instrument?
I don't think anyone's ever asked me that because they probably just assume it's guitar, but it's not. So it's a toss-up. I have a tie. My top two favorite instruments are harpsichord and bagpipes.
Could have said, I'll give you $1,000 if you guess this. Never would have guessed harpsichord because I'm not quite certain. It's not the same as a harp.
No, harpsichord is a keyboard of sort of 16th century keyboard player. Think that early British classical music, very tinkly sounding, beautiful. Lots of is a very Western European kind of piano, early piano type thing. And then and then there's the auto harp is different from a harp, but the harpsichord is played with keys.
Oh my God.
Beautiful, beautiful instrument.
I can't wait.
I don't know. I say 16th century, but I don't really know. Old.
I'm gonna go look this up, not to make sure it's 16th century, just to hear it. Also, bagpipes, stop it. Why?
Because they make me weep. Now, with the well played bagpipes, making the badly played bagpipes make everyone weep, but for different reasons. I don't know, something about the bagpipes. I have Scottish heritage, and it's something about the sound absolutely speaks to a part of me that is very, 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 very old. I mean, lots of me are old.
Well, oh, okay. My brother got married in Hawaii. This was, oh my gosh, like 17, 18 years ago. My brother's brother-in-law, who's from the States, shows up with bagpipes and he plays them on the beach. We were all like, what? Who is this human? He's very musical, but didn't see the bagpipes coming on a plane ride to Hawaii. James,
Wow.
You still make the family lore is still going, the family tale about you, James. We love you. Erin, I'm so pumped to be doing this with you. Can you say who you are?
I am Erin Benjamin, and my job title,
sure, or whoever you are.
I was going to say I am a mom, and I'm a dog lover, and I'm an obsessed golfer, and in the rest of my free time, I'm the president and CEO of the Canadian Live Music Association.
And you play guitar?
Oh yeah, and formerly a singer-songwriter, formerly a musician.
Is it formally?
Yeah.
Formally? Oh my God, Nadine. Is it formally, or are you always a musician, singer-songwriter?
For me, it's formally. Yeah, for me, it's formally. I mean, I referred to myself as an artist when I was making records and touring, for sure, which I did for 10 years. And but I don't know. I think it's true for some people who sort of transition out of performing with an instrument in their hands and into performing with a pen and a microphone in their hands. So I still consider myself a performer and maybe an artist, but maybe not a musician anymore since I don't actually play an instrument. Yes, I can jam out some Neil Young tunes with the best of them. We're still in it, and I still do that sometimes.
At the next Christmas party, can you bring your guitar and do this?
There we go. We'll have to get our mutual friend to set a room aside just for.
I like it. I mean, now you live next to me, so but we'll invite her. We won't cut her out. We won't cut out the middle woman.
Okay.
Okay, so when you were a little kid, what'd you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, I wanted to be an actor and a musician. I had a dream. This is my famous story. I had a dream when I was 5 years old. Like I had a profoundly life-changing dream when I was 5 that I was playing guitar. I was a guitar player. And so I woke up and I was like, Mom, I need a guitar. And I was instantly, and then, I've already said the word obsessed once. I'm going to say it again. I'm a bit of an obsessive person, and I was obsessed with learning to play guitar. And so I bugged her and bugged her and bugged her. And she eventually took me to a store called Drum World on Bayview Avenue in Toronto, not far from where I grew up, and bought me $100 at the time. That was a long time ago. So I always say $100 because today $100 guitar is not the kind you'd really want to play seriously. But it was a $100 Degas guitar, and she bought it for me, and I immediately started taking lessons, and I really never looked back for over 30 years. Yeah.
Five.
So I wasn't necessarily the world's best guitar player, but I was really dedicated to it. And as later in life as a songwriter, often exclusively worked in open tunings. So I was not a highly trained guitar player. I mean, I took little kid guitar lessons and then sort of invented my own style a bit, which was unique. Let's go with that. And I studied theater in university with a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and I was determined to just work either in music or theater professionally.
What does open tuning mean?
Yeah, so if you can imagine the six strings on a guitar, they're tuned to a particular, oh my God, E.
No.
Yes, a particular note. And two of them are the same and the rest are different. And but what you can do is you can change the tuning so that you can play an open chord as if you were putting your fingers on a regular tuning in a difficult position. Joni Mitchell that most famously does this, and a lot of sort of fingerstyle guitar players will play it in open tuning. So you can get a big giant open chord, and then you can put your fingers in a very non unconventional way on the neck of the guitar to make chords that you otherwise couldn't make or wouldn't know how to make in a standard tuning. And this allows you to explore melody in a way that I just couldn't in a traditional tuning because I wasn't a super good guitar player. Great guitar players don't need open tunings because they can make any chord they want. Mediocre guitar players like myself really could work with open tunings in any chord. So any chord could be in an open tuning, and you could have minor chords or major chords and or diminished chords in an open format, and then you could just create all the sound around them that you could explore a whole new universe in any one single open tuning. And I could play shows where I had 15 different open tunings, which I don't recommend because it's a lot of tuning on stage. But yeah, very different way of playing.
When it comes to writing a song, do you think of the music first or the words? Or the
That's such a good question because everyone's process is different, right? And for me, it was almost the open tuning piece. Like I would noodle around with the tuning and then I would come up with a progression and then I would hum a melody and then I would feel whatever I was feeling and try and put some lyrics around it. I would say that's typically how it worked for me.
Mm.
I probably wrote 100 songs, 150 songs in my life. And sometimes there was a lyric maybe that came first or an idea that a succession of words that I needed to put to music. But I think the better songs were always melody driven. Yeah.
Is there a particular title or lyric or grouping of words from your 150 plus songs that you've written that still stick with you? Like a snippet.
Yeah, there's a couple. I wasn't expecting to talk about music. I probably should have been. I didn't read the notes close enough. But yeah, there's a couple of songs. Look, the vast majority of my catalog was recorded in the mid 90s, right? So I had a relationship with the internet at the time, and I was able to sort of warehouse some of my music, but you won't find my music on Spotify or anything like that. So this and I have multiple recordings, but on CD or cassette, CASSETTT. You can Google it, but they don't. Yeah, I don't even have a CD player in my car. Like, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not listening to my own music very often. It's hard to find. But of the material that exists in recorded form, it's for nostalgia. There's a couple of songs that endure, and yes, I mean, there. One is called Harder Than the Rain, and there's another called She's a Beauty, and there's a song called Amy. And I'm trying to remember the title of I only have a live recording of this one song that was one of the last songs I wrote, actually, following the sort of horrific end of my parents' marriage that was meant a lot to me. And of course, I'm not thinking of the title. That's how much it meant to me. No, it'll come to me. But some lyrics in those songs still, yeah, speak to
Still
me when I
resonate.
listen to it.
Yeah. Can we go back to when you were 5 and you asked for the guitar over and over, and then it finally got placed in your hands? Do you remember that like feeling?
Yeah, I held it backwards. There's pictures of me
Ah.
famously holding it left hand with my ball. It's bright blonde, like your color, curly hair, and wearing some pink little Christmas dress or whatever. That's just a photograph from a very long time ago that it's all burned in my brain. No, I think I do remember very, very clearly walking down the street to my neighbor's house who taught me They were dear friends of my parents, and the mom there taught me my first songs like Four Strong Winds and Feeling Groovy and some Elvis tunes. And I remember just feeling amazing. And I very quickly started performing at grade school and then certainly in high school. And that I always felt very, special. Like it was great. I loved being on stage in front of people, 100%.
Was this in your family? Are there other musicians and artists in your fam?
My two sisters are very creative in terms of being visual artists. My little sister was for many years a fiber artist. She's an off the charts knitter. Her knitting is like unprecedented. She like shears sheep. She spins the yarn. She makes the things without patterns, and they're beautiful things. And then I have a twin sister. We're fraternal, and she's a potter, makes beautiful pottery. Both of them have other day jobs today, but my grandfather was a musician in many years ago in Toronto, a clarinet player in a big band.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your mom and dad like couldn't help you with the guitar, weren't really into it, besides probably
Then I,
seeing your adorable face singing and playing
yeah.
guitar.
Yes, well, I'm sure there were moments where they didn't enjoy it, but like going back to the bad bagpipes. But oh, very supportive. My parents were incredibly supportive of my entire career. They were big music fans. My aunt, my mom's sister, worked for CBS Records as a salesperson in Canada and always had a trunk full of the latest releases. I have strong memories of seeing a Nana Muscuri cover in plastic wrap and on vinyl, of course.
Toy
And
Train.
oh my gosh.
Oh,
And
that sends me. I'm like,
yeah, ABBA, Gordon Lightfoot, like really 70s records. And so my parents had a great record collection as a result. And I actually still have their stereo system, which is in my garage somewhere. It hasn't worked for a long time, but a Pioneer
oh,
classic, amazing Pioneer sound system. But so they didn't make music. I think my mom might have played piano as a kid, but not my dad. But no, they enjoyed listening to music. They were very supportive of all of our careers, of course, and any artistic or athletic endeavors we drag them to, but not musicians themselves.
were they nervous of like little Erin performing on stage in front of her school? Were you nervous?
I think they were more nervous of older Erin and some of the lyrics she might have been writing about her family, certainly autobiographical, or was it? But I'm sure I mean, as a mom myself, I think they must. How can you not be apprehensive for your kid when they put themselves out there? I don't really remember. I did a lot of theater as a kid, like tons, as much music as theater, and I was absolutely a nervous wreck for that stuff for sure. I still get very nervous before I speak publicly, or
You
always. I
do?
think apparently that's a healthy sign.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I think like if you before you go do something, if you're not nervous, I don't know, there's like something misfiring, because isn't that the point of it to go out and be nervous and then you're just like, I don't know about you. I've never sung. Wait, I did sing once on stage. I don't
Oh,
have a
really?
great singing voice. Well, I was in theater as well, and a part of this play that I was in, there was oh God, the shortest moment that I had to come out and sing something, and it was as bad as you can imagine, just because it's not my wheelhouse. Anyway, my parents were there. My dad was like, "What the fuck was that play about?" It went all over the map. I'm like, "I don't know, Dad. I didn't choose it." But all that to say, every time I step down on stage for something, or still do, if I do like a speaking event or something, my insides are like, oh, but there's something about that feeling, even though I hate it, I love it. And then you get out and you fall into this rhythm. I'm going to assume this is what happens for you, but it happens for me. So I'll let you tell me what happens for you. But I fall into this rhythm where like things just disappear and like it just flows and it just happens. And then I'm done and I'm elated and my body is buzzing and I want to do it again. How does it happen for you?
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. I mean, it's so important to be able to recognize that too. It's really great.
Mm.
Um, I think for me, I mean, it's been so long now that I've been probably further on the other side of not making music than on the amount of time I did make music professionally, certainly. But I think that connection with the audience has always mattered. And maybe I couldn't express this as a younger person or artist. Like I was very sort of self-focused young artist, very angsty and, classic girl with guitar, young woman with guitar. And I hear a lot of myself in this music that my 17-year-old daughter listens to today. Like, and let's not the artists she listens to are amazing. I'm not comparing my quality of music, but just the emotional and how she relates to music is how I related to music when I was younger. But I think today I would say more that my connecting with the audience is just so, it's just such a power tool. When you learn, nervous or otherwise, when you learn, when you can really feel that connection, whether you're making, whether you're performing a song or speaking on something you're passionate about, the power in that is really, well, it's very precious, first of all, and not something to use, you need to use it carefully. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but seeking that connection, it was part of my sort of adventure and journey for sure. Like once I was able to form a song, I really wanted to share it. And when I could connect as, people coming up to me after a show and talking about some of the themes or a particular lyric in a song meant everything. Like it's like we're not alone is what it meant, you know?
Yes, I so relate to that feeling. It keeps me doing the things that I do. And I think even though
Yeah.
you're on the other side of the industry now, I would imagine that it keeps you doing the thing you do because you push for live music, you push for gatherings of people, you anyway. Okay, I want to talk about that, but I'm so curious about what it was like to go on tour, to be an artist for a decade or however long you were. What was that like?
It was hard work.
Yeah.
It was really hard work. It was so when I started, like I already said, it was, the 90s. I mean, I coded my own website in 1994
Oh
when
my
it took 3 days
God,
to
I'm
upload an
obsessed with
MP3.
you. What? Yes, I was down. Yeah, I
It's
remember
funny.
trying to burn a CD and how long it would take. It would be like a day event. My friend and I'd go to his house and we'd plan all day to be together to like burn one CD. And you were coding a web page?
Oh my God, remember burning CDs? Oh,
Yes. Oh
I
God, if
thought about
someone
that forever.
interrupted the internet connection and then you'd start again, and then you're
Yeah.
definitely downloading what do you call it, viruses on your flipping computer, your home computer. Oh my God.
Oh
What was
yeah.
it? LimeWire or something? I remember that. Oh my God.
Yeah, Napster. I
Start.
mean, look, and these were all disruptive, amazing, innovative. Now we can say innovative, but I don't think we were saying innovative about Napster when everyone realized we could get music for free. That's for sure.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I was a very independent artist in the beginning, and I did everything myself, including building the website. I found out where there were radio stations around the world that might play my music, and I wrote to people. I emailed people.
Really?
I physically mailed my CD around the world, and and that was actually great because I built relationships with DJs. Is it in that I identified more in the folk community than any others, like identified with the folk community. So there's a whole international community of folk DJs. And I built relationships with them one at a time and by the internet, which was not something you could do up until that point. So it was almost easy in some ways to distribute my own music. All I had to do was mail an envelope to Sweden or the UK or whatever it was, and build these relationships. So that was amazing. I mean, I booked my own shows. I showed up at events to market myself. I and eventually attracted a larger team to support a bigger lift of my career. And that was really exciting when that happened. And it didn't last too long, but I got to play bigger and bigger shows and I toured. My thing was being an opening act for some much larger artists, which was very exciting. I've opened for some super cool people. And it's so long ago that any of your viewers might have to Google them, but some of them are still out there performing. But
Like
yeah,
who?
so
Can you share?
yeah, I toured with Gowan
Come
for many
on.
months. Yeah, I was Gowan's opening act right before he became the lead singer for Styx. There was a lot of sort of opening for Gowan at strip clubs in Northern Ontario. The strip
Oh
club
my
by day, live music
God.
venue by night. I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to open for Holly Cole. That was one of probably my
I
at the
love.
Oakville Center for the Performing Arts.
Oh, I love her.
Amazing artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of folks. I got to open for Burton Cummings at the Key to Bala a million
Very
years ago.
cool.
Yeah, and
Oh,
so on. So that
okay.
was, I mean, it was an adventure and it was hard work. I say it was hard work because I was running my own business. I was
Right.
running my own record label. I was also running someone else's record label in Northern Ontario, a wonderful friend and philanthropist who was investing in sort of Northern artists. And I helped on the administration of that label. And yeah, I mean, what I didn't know was that I was an entrepreneur and I didn't have any business. I didn't see myself as a business person. I just saw myself as a very determined artist. But ultimately, those are the skills that I really that self-taught helped me transition into the career that I have today and have had for almost 35 years.
Yeah,
over the
tell
years.
me about that. What was that transition? How, why, when?
Well, I can tell you exactly. I was on the board of an organization at the time. It had two name changes. So it was used to be known as the Ontario Council of Folk Festivals, and I was on the board because I was living in Northern Ontario. My parents, when I went to university, which was Concordia in Montreal, during that time, my parents moved to Sudbury from Toronto. Toronto was where I grew up. Me and my three siblings lived in Toronto our whole lives, but my dad's job took him back to Sudbury. He was originally born there. So this all matters in the bigger picture. So I when I graduated Concordia, home was Sudbury and not Toronto. So my plan was to get a job, save some money, enough for a couple months rent in Toronto, and then move to Toronto and try and be an actor. And I started playing music when I was in Sudbury, got a job bartending, of course, and made a bunch of friends and started performing like gigs. I had gigs. It was great, writing my own songs, playing cover songs, and that one thing led to another. I entered a kind of a turning point was I entered a provincial songwriting contest that I'd never heard of before called Songs from the Heart. Someone handed me a pamphlet, it was all paper, of course, and said, "Oh, you should enter this." And so I entered. You could enter up to three songs or something, and I won it. And there were three winners that year.
Huh,
And the prize was you got to come and showcase at this conference in Orillia, Ontario, at the Sundial Inn on the 400. It's been long gone for a long time, but I knew the Sundial because it was a place where we'd stop on the way to the cottage with my family, a cottage on Manitoulin Island. And so I went to this thing. I didn't know, and I went by myself. I didn't know a soul, like zero people.
old are
I
you?
got a, I'm probably 24, 5,
Okay.
and maybe 23. And I get to showcase. So the people who are there are only the only people there are artistic directors of Ontario festivals. This is a conference for them and about them. And this songwriting contest was to, a way to bring some artists into the fold, but they really didn't want too many artists there. It was really about festivals, meeting with festivals. And so I got to meet all these folks, and it kind of worked. And so I got started to get more and more summer festival work and got to know the community. And this organization that hosted the conference, eventually I joined their board. So now I'm maybe a few years into my career and I'm attending this conference and I'm on the board. And they had a staff person who works a couple hours a week who got quite sick and could no longer do the job. She was the only staff person. There was no other paid leadership. There was all volunteers. And because I was successfully running my own label and building my career, the board chair and vice chair took me outside into the hallway during a board meeting in Toronto one day and said, "Oh, well, we really need someone to like take over the running of this, or like the conference." And they did a brochure of all festivals in the province. They're like, "You're really organized. We think you should do it. We have $5,000 in the bank, and we could pay you a little bit of money, and then maybe you could like apply for more grants or whatever." And at so, but you'd step off the board and become an employee of the organization. And so I didn't really set this picture, but the stage, I'm a full-time artist. At this point, I'm living in a very, very, very small town, basically in the woods in Northern Ontario, writing songs for my next record and touring. And that's all I'm doing. And revenue is pretty scarce. Like I make
Okay.
money
I wonder. Yeah.
shows, but I'm not making money hand over fist. And so I hear the words $5,000. And I'm like, to myself, I'm like, okay, I could do this. So out of my mouth, without even, I didn't even draw breath before saying this. I'm like, great, I'll do it, but you have to call me the executive director. Take it or leave it. It's like, I'm not going to be an office manager. I would like to be. And so the vice chair was like, oh, I don't know. And the chair, who was amazing to this day, was like, you're hired. So I became the first ever executive director of the Ontario Council of Folk Festivals, which has gone on to become, first it was Folk Music Ontario, and now it's known as Folk Canada as it continues to evolve. And it was a very small organization when I got there, and it was a very large one when I left. And I really enjoyed that experience. I knew the community. I produced many events with and for them, and it was an incredible adventure and just something I happen to be good at because of my sort of my ability to be and stay organized.
So what happens
And
to
that
singing
just
songwriting?
so in 2000, that job started I started it for the OCFF in 2000, January 2001. And by 2003, I sort of officially retired from performing. There was a perceived conflict of interest when Erin's getting all the gigs at the festivals that are members of the organization that she runs.
Mm.
it just was a bit of an uncomfortable place, and I probably could have pushed back, but I was loving the work so much. I was like, and performing was becoming, for me, I was the kind of artist, I practiced 8 hours a day. Like I practice, 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 practice. I practiced all day, practiced guitar all the time. I kept my voice in great shape. And that was hard to do, to maintain at that level and to have this full-time job kind of for the first time in my life out of school. So I decided to retire and focus on running the association, which was the right decision. Absolutely. Yeah.
What about acting at the time? Are you still thinking of that? Is that something, did you audition for particular roles or did you have to leave that as well?
No, I left theater school with a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. I just didn't feel, well, that's a story for another day. And partly because I got so quickly into music when I came to Sudbury, I didn't feel that theater was for me anymore. And I have enjoyed attending theater, and my daughter is in performing arts high school here in Ottawa, and theater is her thing. And so I quietly get to live vicariously through her right now. Enjoyed that very much. But no, I never really went back to theater.
Okay. And it's not something that you were like, oh, I wonder if I'd ever end up there again. It's something that you left and it made perfect sense and it didn't call out to you anymore.
Yeah, look, I went to a high school that really supported my love of theater. I don't know that I was ever as good at it as I was on the music side, and I think I learned a hard lesson in university. I kind of refused to believe that I wasn't good at it. I just, for a long time, I just believed I didn't get a good enough education, and I was woefully misunderstood as an actor.
Mm.
But
Right.
I did come to see that what I had was a personality that could connect with audiences, and I could be myself on stage doing something that I was good at, which was music, and then became public speaking.
Oh, I love how you just sum that up. You had a gift for being yourself on stage. What a great way. How long did it take you to realize that?
I think from contemplating the transition to like the retiring from music, which I literally have been doing since I was 5, to accepting my new, like I fell into that job, right? I mean, I
Mm.
was, not every artist puts their hand up to be on a board of an association, right? And some do, certainly, and some should, and more should. But it was a bit of a, not a unicorn necessarily, but I didn't fit in neatly into the artist world because I had this skill for doing all this other stuff. And like, look, lots of artists are great business people and amazing artists. It just, I wasn't as, I don't know. I think once I realized how much I enjoyed the work at the OCFF, I was just like, oh, is this a job? And then of course I went through this whole kind of like, but I didn't go to school for this job. How could I ever be really good at this job? And whole sort of fraud syndrome that I think especially women have to grapple with who, you know,
Yep.
to this day, if I could do it all over again, I tell my kids this, the first thing I do is go get my MBA for sure.
Mm. Really?
Just to, oh yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
I
I
don't
did an
think you can go
MBA. It
wrong.
doesn't, I still
Oh,
question things. I'm still like, oh my God, who am I to do this or that or that? So I don't know. I don't know that I would say go do it,
yeah,
but yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, funny, right? And I think the other thing about, well, for me anyway, I surround myself with people who remind me of things when I'm like, oh, I think I want to try this, but I should go do this first. And they stop me very kindly and help me look back over what I did. And we're like, don't you see you were already doing this in this way? It just makes sense that it's coming out in this way. Anyway, to you, when you said, I'm done performing, how did, was it an easy decision? I guess it's just I know what it is to make a big decision, to make a big career move, but you were younger and to get to live your dream of being an artist, it's something that you want to do since you were 5. So to live it and actually get to tour and get to experience that and open for people that you probably never imagined you'd meet, not alone work with and alongside of, what was it like to make that decision?
So it's so interesting because I'm in a place in my life right now where I'm making more big decisions about things and I'm finding it very difficult. But then I was absolutely positive because I could see myself, I could see the my ability to bring community together around a table was sort of at the heart of the challenge at the first organization. And I was very good at that. And that's what I really needed to do was like, I don't think I knew this walking into the job, but I can looking back say that the one priority was to bring people around a common goal and try and unite a conversation within a community. And it turns out I was good at that. And so the transition, the experience I had was like, my ability, what my experience as a singer-songwriter, as an artist, as a performer, was preparing me for this role that I was actually meant to have. And I hear that in my music. My music was good, but it was fine. It was great. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was shitty or awesome. I mean, you can it's subjective, but I mean, my mom loved it, so that mattered. But
Yeah.
my family, but I have realized very quickly at some point I had this clarity around it because people ask me that a lot over my career, like, "Oh, do you miss being an artist?" The answer is, it prepared me to do what I do today. Absolutely believe that. I am doing what I am supposed to be doing. And I've run different associations, and hopefully I'll go on to do different things and feel as strongly. It's the connection to community and the convening community and bringing people around a common goal that really speaks to me. And I could do that through my music to a certain point. I didn't know that at the time, that maybe that's what I was trying to achieve.
Mhm.
But today, no, absolutely. Like, I total clarity, probably as I was looking at moving into the second association. I
Wow.
was like,
So
absolutely,
no,
I can do this.
no, did you grieve it at all?
Do you know what? I think I would have if I didn't regularly have a chance to be on stage talking to an audience. That's my
Uh,
favorite part, right? I love public speaking. And so I got to keep doing that in my role as executive director of the Ontario Council of Folk Festivals. I was in charge of the organization. I got to make boss decisions. All of the things that made me, and again, this was upon reflection, I wouldn't have been able to articulate this in the moment, but all of the things that brought me a lot of satisfaction and happiness and empowered me to grow and evolve as a leader were things that I had as an artist too. But I was just driving a different bus with
yeah.
bigger, higher purpose.
To realize the pieces of a job that you're doing that you can transition to a different job, I think it's something in the moment that I still find it hard to do, even though I know it's almost like I have to step back, like you just said, upon reflection. And I think it's important for people to hear, regardless of what industry or job you're in, um, notice what sets you on fire in a really good way, and realize that it doesn't have to fit in a particular box. There's so many ways to use the things that you love about your job, right? Because
I
even as
totally agree.
yeah, even as you're telling me this, I'm like, right, I never saw the connect. I mean, there's an obvious connection between what you do now and what you did. I haven't had either job. So it's not so clear to me what you loved about being a performer and a singer and a songwriter. And it is when you tell me about the entrepreneurial side of it. I'm like, aha, I get it. And when you tell me about the ability to bring a crowd, to bring a community together, and you still get to drive that bus. You still get to be out there in front of everybody. You still get to do public speaking. You still get to be Erin. And you just seem happier talking about what you do now than when you talk about what you used to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, and again, it's been decades since I
Yeah.
did what I used to do, right? So I mean, this is my life now, and it has been for a long time. But yeah, it's true. I mean, I think evolution is important. My current job as CEO of the Canadian Live Music Association, I've just been in this role for 12 years. I've never had a job this long. Even the first association was 7 years, 7, 8. The second one was 7 years. This one has been 12. It's like, I just hope I keep evolving, and I don't. I've been like the live music lady in this country for a long time, and it's been an incredible honor and privilege to have this job, and I have learned so much, but I think that I have more to do, much more to do. But I think, just to put like a underline the point of what I think I've learned through the course of this is that my interest in bringing people around a table is just so it's really my passion. It isn't even music. It is aligning community on priorities and getting the work done to create impact for the people who need it most. And that in music, it's artists and the members that we represent at the Canadian Live Music Association. But that is so rewarding. And COVID really reinforced this for me when we set out to ultimately save an entire sector. And that could have been any sector. In my case, it happened to be the live music industry. But it was really, for me, it was, well, complex feelings for sure. But what was so profound is when I look back on that time was the impact on community that we, through the association, were able to have. And I think at the end of the day, that really matters to me.
What did you guys do during COVID? Because, yeah, you couldn't gather. How did you stay afloat, alive, in a job?
Well, well, it was, I mean, I'm only 25, but I look 125 because of COVID. Thank you very much. Exhaustion and burnout.
Mhm.
Well, we advocated relentlessly. And when I say we, I mean me and my board, very small team. And my team were amazing, but there weren't enough of us. But those who stuck it out were fantastic. And together we convinced government that some of the stakeholders in our world had no relationship with government. So we were able to do things like in the 2022 budget, we saw 70 million for live music venues in this country. It was, I mean, just seeing the words live music venues in a federal budget had never happened. It was historic. Hopefully it happens
Ever.
again. It hasn't happened since. It only happened one time.
Okay, I need to slow this down. 70 million budgeted for live music in Canada, approved in the budget in 2022. You obviously were a big driver of that. And how were you able to get that to pass through for the first time ever?
Well, lots of ways, but one in particular, we ran a national campaign, is hashtag for the love of live. And we put tools and resources into the hands and computers of every Canadian we could reach and said, here's what the stakes are right now for artists, for storytelling, for Canadian culture and identity, for economic impact, for the local live music club that you love down the street, for the concert venue that where you had your first concert. We put it out there that we needed everyone's help, industry to private sector to public. And we launched a campaign, and the campaign saw 45,000 letters sent to the federal government on the importance of live music venues and promoters. And we had millions and millions, tens of millions of impressions on this campaign, and artists and audiences alike took to the internet to share their stories about why that music mattered. And that ultimately, I believe, was the catalyst to be recognized for our role in the broader music industry ecosystem. Because up until that point, and it's really why the association was founded in the first place 12 years ago, was to really help government understand our role in the ecosystem and how the touring infrastructure, which we represent, is fundamental to the not just the supply chain, but to artists' ability to connect with audiences and sell tickets and therefore create the monumental economic impact that we do in live music. So that before then, that storytelling hadn't really happened before the association was founded. And before COVID, I said we were still in startup mode when COVID hit, and 5 years in or whatever, and really making a difference. But COVID accelerated our argument greatly and rallied our community in unprecedented ways.
So that money went toward what?
So it was dispersed through a variety of mechanisms, including agencies and existing programs, and it went to keep the doors open and the lights on at live music venues.
Right, because these places were, if not bankrupt,
Shuttered.
very close to it. Yeah, yeah. So that saved a lot of these venues. And are venues the main thing that you represent?
We represent the sort of the whole ecosystem on the infrastructure side. So venues, clubs, concert promoters, festivals, arenas, concert halls, theaters, and the supply chain. So insurance companies, trucking, ticketing, all of that. So any piece that's involved in putting an artist on a stage for an audience, everything but the artist. But we also represent agents and some managers who do represent the artist directly. So yeah, that's who we are.
Wow. So without that 70 million, how many places would have shut, do you think?
We lost 85 primary live music venues. And by primary, I mean their main purpose was to present live music. We lost 85 venues in the first year. And because the funding took a while, COVID started in 2020, the funding was announced in 22 and it didn't flow for a bit, right? So actually, it flowed pretty fast, a few months. But yeah, we lost skilled workers who went to film and television, which was able to keep active. We lost legendary rooms. We lost all kinds of
Mm.
things, but it could have been much, 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 much worse without that
Right.
support. And it wasn't just that support. I mean, we made sure that our members were eligible for other government programs. We connected into the broader tourism initiative. We were part of the leadership team of something called the Hardest Hit Coalition, which was tourism, travel, hospitality,
Right.
major events, etc. So there were lots of other resources for our members to stay afloat. Thankfully, they were all necessary. But yeah, no, we would be a shadow of our former selves had it not been for that emergency support, no question.
Do you remember the first live music event you went to post everything being shut down with COVID?
Yes, I do. And I'm looking over at the signed poster that I have from James Taylor, which was a gift from the promoter to me, who gave me tickets in the sixth row, knowing what a fan I was. And
Oh,
I'd never seen James Taylor live as James Taylor. Jackson Brown. If you remember, that tour was canceled. It was supposed to be James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt. And then the tour got rebooked with Jackson Brown as opening. And it was my first time back at CTC post COVID, and I couldn't stop. I mean, I was just crying the entire time, like ugly tears, like ugly crying. And when the promoter came out and gave me this signed poster from James Taylor and a set list, I would watch the stage as much as I looked at the crowd. I took so many pictures of the crowd that night that I was very, very, very overwhelmed. And I think I had real deep respect to all of the people in my industry. I had a very, I think, singular and unique experience that night because I mean, it was very, very hard. I don't think I've recovered either. Like, I mean, I still, and I talk to leaders of hard to hit sectors regularly, and I think there's a lot of trauma that will always be with me from that. I mean, I work 24/7. I used to text my kids from my bedroom to bring me food and water while on meetings, and it was just like, it was so intense. I can't even, I mean, if you didn't work in a hard hit sector, I don't think you could ever really know what that was like. And I would never wish that on anyone, although it taught me that I had gears that I didn't know I had and that I could work harder than I'd ever worked in my life. And I don't know if I really wanted to learn that, but I did. So yeah, I mean, it was what a time.
James Taylor. Come on.
So that was just an incredible show. Sorry, I kind of drifted from the James thing,
Oh,
but
I
yeah,
mean, listen, I could talk about the hard. I owned three gyms during COVID. It was brutal, but
yeah. So you
I'm
know,
like, yeah, I'm like James Taylor. Here's where I go with James Taylor. My best friend since I've been like 14, she loved James Taylor. And this was like, we're 14. It was cool to love Janet Jackson. Like, there was a lot, who's also a great artist. There's a lot of cool things. Us listening to James Taylor on records in her room at the time was not cool. She was adamant. She just and still loves him and CCR and what else did she make me listen to that I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm into this." Oh my God, Billy Joel. I mean, come on.
joy.
But anyway,
That's
so
so
the
great.
fact so great. She always had great taste in music. But yeah, James Taylor would have been I never saw him in concert either. That would be pretty amazing.
He was just on Stephen Colbert with his son, and who's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, he's a legend, and I've been listening to his music since I was born. And I'm a softie for the whole 70s thing because that's when I started playing music from other artists and
Right.
went to summer camp, with my guitar and learned from all my counselors who would have been 10, 15 years older than me. So like that stuff was just is part of who I am, that music. And if I'm at home alone, I'm more likely to put on James Taylor or Blue Rodeo too. And a it's somewhere somewhere between James Taylor and Blue Rodeo, like certainly older music than newer
I'm
music.
here for it. I'm here for it. Um, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, sheesh. Wow. If maybe, I don't know, I've barely ever done karaoke in my life. Talk about nerves. I just, the idea of failing during karaoke was too much for a professional singer like me. But I would love to sing Landslide by
Oh,
Fleetwood Mac.
yes. Okay, you do that. I will either open for you with Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 or close with Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. So I need a Kenny with Islands in the Stream. It's all I ever want
Oh
to
my
sing.
God.
Hmm.
That is what we are. Yeah, I love it. Count me in.
Ah, okay, let's do it. Um, yes.
Our friend should have a jamming room and a karaoke room.
I feel like I'm surprised she doesn't have a karaoke room somewhere in that
Yeah, me
house.
too.
All right.
Maybe she does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it together. Okay, so your job right now, what is your favorite part of it?
My favorite part is telling the story, the economic, social, and cultural story of why live music matters to government and to private sector, like the business community. Just educating people, and I do this every day. The podcast I did yesterday was a business development podcast with a fella out of Edmonton with an international listenership. And he's like, "Oh, none of my viewers know anything about live music. Let's start from the beginning." And I was like, "Yes, let's start from the beginning." So I don't think that, and this is why COVID was such a wake up call for our sector. I don't think live music is just not like other industries that are knitted into policy agendas. Like you might think of automotive or aerospace or technology, healthcare, education. We are a community of often small, medium sized, but of course, very large companies and nonprofits that are, often self taught, proprietary territorial competitors who don't always play well together and have not historically been good at organizing. And the fact that they only developed their own trade association in 2014 is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So that means they've historically, unlike other segments of the music industry, like for example, recorded music, who've been for 60 years very good at telling their story to government. Live music has not. So
Mm.
it's a new dawn. It's Wild West. It's a new frontier. It's low hanging fruit, and it's very exciting because our impact is our GDP contribution. We measured it in January last year at almost 11 billion. We're massive. We're bigger than fisheries and just a little smaller than automotive. But we have never shown up as a collective and said we want to be at the table. So this is my favorite part of helping people understand. And I think really the tables are turning. A city like Ottawa fully has grasped and now embraced the role live music activity plays, festivals, events, and all live events really, small, medium, and large, plays in the prosperity of our capital region and how it attaches, how and why it attaches and attracts to the brand, how it helps attract and retain talent for other sectors, how it drives tourism, and so on. So this is a wonderful story to tell, and a lot of folks have no idea. When they were faced with losing their favorite music venues during COVID, we were able to draw a much more obvious line for people. They're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, if that goes away, you mean I won't get to go there? And all of the artists that they were employing and all of the jobs they created and all of the money that was spent before people got to the concert, maybe they flew in, maybe they're staying in a hotel, maybe they ate at a restaurant, all of that goes away.
Mhm.
We'd always been telling that story since the inception of the association, but COVID made it much more obvious and easier to explain. And so that is my favorite part of my job, hands down, and seeing
Mm.
people get it and building as a result out of that, building the relationships that help to sort of hasten the evolution of the continuum, if you will.
This may be the same answer. What is the most challenging part of this job?
It's a long list, but I would say right now it's shaking the money tree and ensuring that our live music, our members of the CLMA have some sort of equitable access to programs. It's not all about funding. Sometimes when I talk about funding, I get a little itchy because I don't want people like your viewers to think, oh, they just, well, if they need money to go, what's wrong with the business model? Investment in the Canadian music space is really about investing in risk, investing in scaling up. It's
Ah,
not about funding to survive, it's funding to thrive.
okay.
And we have not, we were, well, as much as I've talked about COVID and the emergency resources that came our way, we have yet to be reflected in policy frameworks that are incentivizing growth broadly in the industry. And that's a pain point for us and something very frustrating. I'm hoping that's about to change. We've got some, I'm cautiously optimistic that as we move into the government's fiscal new year on April 1st, we'll see some movement there. But what we really want to do is be on equitable ground as the live music piece of the broader ecosystem so that we can support the career development of Canadian artists and the experience of Canadian audiences and international audiences as well.
What is your favorite venue in Canada to go to hear live
Oh no,
music?
I can't answer that question.
No, not fair.
Well, I can name some that I really love.
Okay, yes.
But as the person who as the voice of
S-
venues in this country, I'm cautious when I answer this question because I don't
Fair.
want to play favorites. But certainly, look, I mean, oh gosh, I'll just rattle some off. Well, let's go small first. I mean, I love the Black Sheep in
Oh,
Wakefield.
love it.
Um, they're not a member of the association currently, although they may have been in before COVID, but I know they're rebooting with a new team and I'm really excited to see what they do there. But as an artist, I played there many times and it was
Yeah.
amazing. And then when I moved to Ottawa, certainly I saw many, many, many incredible shows there. Of course, I love Massey Hall. Who doesn't?
Mm.
Especially now that it's been renovated. It's just exquisite. I love the Bronson Center in Ottawa. I don't just want to talk about Ontario venues, but I love the Rickshaw in Vancouver. I love the National Music Center in Calgary and the King Eddie venue that they have there. Okay, I'll just stop there because I'm someone is going to see this and say,
What
Benjamin,
about me? Have you been to Red Rocks in Colorado?
no, no, I have not.
Don't go. It will ruin concerts for you forever. I- I'm sure I've seen 1,000th of the shows you've seen, but I was lucky to go there and see Brandy Carlisle. And I was like, my life is ruined because I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to be able to have this night again. It's built into the rock. Anyway, Red Rocks.
It's different from the Gorge, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
So I know that she was on the Super Bowl this weekend and talking about her upcoming summer performance at the Gorge, and of course she's been there before. I mean,
Where's the gore?
it's in the United States somewhere
Mm.
like that. I should know. As
I
though
know.
I'm very Canadian focused. But
Same.
yeah, Brandy Carlisle can't go wrong. Saw her play at Blues Fest many years ago now.
Me
Amazing.
too. She was on the river stage. She would never be on the river stage now. That wasn't that incredible? My gosh, you were probably right next to me.
I mean, I had already known of her, and I mean, yeah, no, I think, well, Blues Fest. The number of shows of artists that I saw before they blew up at Blues Fest and many other festivals. But yeah, lots of great shows. Oh, Brandy.
Who are you most looking forward to seeing in 2026 concert? Yeah, artist wise. Or who's on your like wish list and you don't know if you're going to see them this year?
That's a great question. I haven't really digested the summer festival lineups as they're coming out, so I'm not like that will be something I get to in time because a lot of festivals are going on sale and announcing, and I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you know because, summer festival season in this country is so remarkable. I mean, look, I love a lot of the older acts when they come through, or the classic legend acts, whatever the appropriate terminology is. But I mean, my daughter and son have introduced me to so much music. I have enjoyed recently seeing artists like Faye Webster, and who else did we go and see? Oh gosh, I'm gonna blank. We've got Olivia Dean tickets. That's a little bit different, but Jack
Wait,
Johnson tickets.
when are you seeing Olivia Dean? Did you see her?
August. No, August
Where?
this summer. Bell Center.
Oh my God. Olivia Dean, top of the list. Oh my gosh. Can you say favorite concert of all time?
I'm gonna say two, but on a different day I might give you a different answer, but probably no, three. That James Taylor concert was so life-changing for all the reasons we talked about. I have to say, seeing the Chicks at Budweiser Stage in Toronto, I don't know what that was, like 2016. That was just amazing.
Love
And
them.
then which Neil Young concert was it? I saw Neil Young at Massey Hall. I've seen Neil
Mm.
Young probably more than any other artist. And it wasn't the Massey Hall concert that was my favorite, but there was a Neil Young concert. It might have been with Crazy Horse at Maple Leaf Gardens that I remember just thinking, oh my God, I love him so much.
I've not seen him in concert, but yeah, that would be a dream. That would be amazing.
Oh, and he just canceled his European tour. So you can't see him in Europe this summer, but yeah, hopefully he's going to still be out there. I mean, I don't even know what to say in the concert department. Those jump out right away. I make myself sound so old when I talk about all these legacy artists, but
Yeah.
yeah, can't help it.
Listen, I'm equally want to see Neil Young and Bad Bunny like the rest of the world. So we're gonna be young forever, Erin, because music keeps you young. And going to these live events just like feed the soul. Ugh, come on.
It's the answer to a lot of problems in so many ways. And that's the journey that I ask the business community and government to explore with me and to take with me and to be open to, and seeing the sector as something other than just a nice to have and something we enjoy from time to time. I mean, well, there's so much clickbait and mythology around ticket sales, and we don't need to go there right now because I have strong opinions about, media serves up what they think will feed the public clickbaiting. And there's more going on in the industry than ever. And we get laser focused on some of the problems. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't always try to make the industry better for fans. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm not saying I disagree with positions, traditional positions in the media at all. But I think that our industry has been stereotyped, and that we think of small grassroots music venues as like scary or sketchy, or if they're in a neighborhood I'm not comfortable going, and we think of the big companies as sucking the everything out of the universe around it. And our industry has a lot of its own stuff to get figured out. There's no question. It is not easy. It's a very complex family that we tend to at the Canadian Live Music Association, and that will always be true. But the opportunity to really harness our industry for good, especially in this geopolitical, tumultuous time we're living in, is just, it's exponential.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you know,
I agree. I was lucky enough to get myself to the Eras tour, and I remember being like, I don't know how I feel about 40,000 people being jammed in here together simply because of the world and all the shit that goes on. But I tell you, it was like being in the middle of cotton candy. I'm like, right, this is the
it's
kindest,
great.
happiest, most joyous place I have been in years. Like, and my friend and I had to go at one point. I think we just wanted a water. Like, we just didn't stop dancing because we were on the floor. And we were like, okay, let's
Wow.
go quickly get a drink and come back out. And I'm like, we're never going to get back here, but whatever. Anyway, point of this is we make our way out. We realize the lineup for a drink is so long that we're like, you know what? We're going to miss it. We just want to go back. Do you know our space was basically saved? There's no show I've ever been to other than this where I could get back close to the front. Not that we were that close, but we were close enough. I'm like, Lisa, these people just kind of like left a path for us. And then we basically stood next to the same people we were staying next to. I'm like, these are the kindest people in the world. Oh my God. And like this event just brought them together. I never felt so safe. Like, ugh, anyway.
First of all, the cotton candy reference is magical. I'm totally, totally going to get that on a t-shirt and wear it every day. That's beautiful, beautiful way to put it. And I know exactly what you mean. And there's something, what you are describing is the power and potential of live music when it brings true community together. And it is so special and so powerful. Look, my daughter saw the Eras tour at Wembley Stadium, 100,000 people. I was not there. I was on this continent. And I was very afraid, even though I work in the business and I had no reason to be afraid. And she would describe her experience with 100,000 people exactly the same way. She said that it was the nicest crowd. Everyone, that there was no rushing. Everything was orderly, gentle, smooth. And of course, this is not always the case. Look, obviously, but it is possible. And there's no other human thing that we do that is like that. And we must
Great.
remember this because
Yeah.
it is the best parts of us, for
There's
sure.
something so um foundational. They're so like what is it like ancient about music and just experiencing it, especially live around other people and you're sharing that experience, even though it's subjective. Like what I love about it, it's going to be a little different from you. The song I love, the lyric I love, the things it makes me emote. It's so personal yet so community like what's the word I'm looking for? It's so personal and so individual, yet so uniting at the same time. I don't know what else is like that. Yeah. Erin, before we have to say goodbye and I text you about a karaoke date, one more question. If you could only see one, no, not even music, not even music, one theater, one play, one show in the next year, what would it be?
I don't know. I do not know. Oh my God, you're stumping me. I, 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 I just, my brain just keeps going back to shows that I've seen that I love so much and that I would want to see again. Do you know what I would, you know what I would say? I would want to see Katie Lang at the Grand Theater in Sudbury, which no longer exists as a concert venue, on her Lawrence Welk tour, making bubbles on the stage. I sat in the front row of the balcony. It was the first time I'd ever even heard of Katie Lang, or I had obviously heard of her, bought tickets, but didn't know very much about her, and was out of body experience from the minute she started to play. And I've gone on to see Katie Lang many times. If I could, I would maybe I can't name an artist, but I would like to have that experience, that discovery, that oh my gosh, I didn't know what I didn't know. the being in a space that was so perfect. We all mourn the loss of spaces like old theaters, right, for concerts. But I don't know why that just popped into my mind. But that was a TSN turning point for me, that Katie Lang show. And I would have been in my early 20s in Sudbury and sort of opened my heart and mind in a way that I may not have been able to realize it then, but have, cemented the journey that I was about to take. So I would like that experience to help
Well,
guide me in wherever I'm heading next.
that was worth stumping you because what a beautiful answer. You're amazing. I love you. Let's go sing karaoke songs forevermore.
Yes, bring on the karaoke. And you know what? Like, life's too short. I'm trying to add a little more reckless abandon into my life. So I feel like karaoke is a good place to start.
I like adding reckless abandonment to people's lives. Okay.
I need to say, but I need to say before you make me stop talking, that what a fabulous interviewer. Just so conversational. I really, really enjoyed this. Thank you for like even being interested. Like I just find it fascinating that you think that what I do is interesting. I think what you do is interesting. I'm just so glad that we met and we have who to thank for that. And
Yeah.
I'll have to drop her a note after.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you for that. And yes, thank you, Shauna. We love you. God, Erin, you made my day. Okay. Love you.